Hey everybody, my name is Casey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be doing a speed build for Sylvana and Marshall's yard. So this is the area that I have set aside for Sylvana's yard. It will be connecting to a bridge which will be leading over to little baby Marshall's yard. But I'm really excited to show you the transformation of their yards for this video. But I'm gonna just jump right ahead into the Island Designer app. I think for Sylvana's yard I was gonna give her like a little garden shed with the standee codes and then give her like a little garden. So I'm planning on making a little garden shed with the standees and then just giving her some like flowers. And then Marshall's yard is pretty small, so I just will kind of do some simple decorations for his yard. But now I'm gonna just go ahead and plant some trees and flowers, and then I will let you know what I'm working on next. I'm trying to keep the format of my videos a bit more organized so I can provide you all with timestamps in the description if there are certain moments that you like to watch over others. But I think it's also helpful to do this in my builds because it's able to kind of keep a process to it, and I don't know, it just makes me feel a bit more like accomplished when I do everything like in order, like terraforming, planting flowers, and then starting the build. So definitely let me know if you enjoy this style of video with the timestamps. But right now I am just starting on the garden shed for Sylvana, so I will let you all watch me do that for a little bit and then I will stop back in. So right here I'm just laying down a umbrella code that kind of looks like a little garden wagon, and then now I am just placing down the pathing for the actual garden that I'm planning on giving Sylvana. I want it to be very colorful, and so I'm gonna just work on that for a moment here. And typically when I am making these little gardens, I like to have some sort of custom code down on the in-game pathing and then laying an item on top of it. It just kind of breaks up the area a bit more nicely. And then I wound up just swapping out that umbrella code right there and putting down a different one. Also right here, I didn't really like the filler code that I had, so I just swapped it out, and then I'm actually gonna put down a paper kite butterfly model and then just fill in the rest of the flowers. And now I'm just kind of getting like a feel for the area. I'm going to go ahead and try and play around with some pathing. I think I'm gonna keep this green grass looking pathing that will be leading from the bridge till Sylvana's house, so I want it to be very like curvy and very thin. That is typically how I like to lay down my pathing because it leaves me extra space in a small area in order to decorate it with flowers or smaller items. So I'm gonna just go ahead and finish up this extra little spaces of pathing right here, and then once I have the general shape down, I will move on to the next part of the build, which will be just going in and filling up the little empty spaces that I have. Also, it's kind of tricky to fill up some of the empty spaces by a villager's house because there's like one tile which they won't let you place like anything on except for a custom code, so I wish that could be something that was changed. But right here I'm going to just lay down a beekeeper's hive and have it kind of off-centered a bit on that code. And now I'm just kind of figuring out how I can fill in the rest of this empty space right here. So I decided to put down a watering can on a log stool and then lay down some fencing and some filler codes. And then I still have this like awkward amount of space on each side right here of this pathing. So I'm going to just kind of play around with some different custom codes and some items, and I will let you all watch me do that for a little bit and then I will stop back in. For this area, I did decide to just place down a Zen cushion and put the mini cactus set on it. And then I am still not sure what I want to put directly in front of the garden shed, but over there I've laid down some flowers and then just some filler codes. And then I think for the area directly in front of the garden shed, I'm going to lay some sort of mat down, but for now I'm kind of just playing around with different filler codes. But I'm going to put this welcome mat down. I just think it's really perfect for little areas like this. And I think this build is kind of like teaching me that I need to be okay with not every single tile of a certain space being full when I'm doing a build, because as you can see, I'm kind of just messing around with different codes and items and I just keep swapping them out because it doesn't look right. So for now, I just laid down that tire toy. I thought that looked okay there. And then that little book coat I thought was pretty. And now I'm just trying to plant a weed until I get the one that I like. There we go, that one that looks like a clover. That is literally the only weed that I can stand looking at in this game. But now what I'm going to go ahead and do is just try and lay down one more filler coat, and then I will start on Marshall's house. So we're going to do the same type of pathing leading from this side of the bridge over to little Marshall's house. So I'm going to just work on laying this down right now. So now that we are just about done with the pathing, it's kind of tricky for Marshall's yard because it's even smaller than Sylvana's as far as the amount of space I have to work with, but I decided to lay down another one of these lace rug codes, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a swinging bench down on top of it and then just kind of surround it with flowers and trees. I just like how the swinging bench looks in this certain customization. I forgot my ladder somehow for this part of the build, so I'm having to like grab my shovel and like swap it in and out so I can move stuff while I am designing. But right here I'm gonna just kind of go ahead and let you guys watch me fill in these smaller spaces, and then I will stop back in if I have any tips or I want to let you know what I have started working on next. This area, I decided to do some staggered trees. I like to play around with the different heights of the trees, and I just thought that added some nice variety to this area. So here I am just stunting them. I'm also going ahead and grabbing some little saplings that I already had planted, and then I'm just filling kind of like the outside of the tree around in with some flowers. So this build did end up being a little bigger than I had originally planned. I decided to fill in some pathing right here, which will be leading back to my secret beach. I just did that because it was hard for me to try and figure out how to fill in the rest of the space without kind of just doing it all at once. So that is what I am doing right now. So now that I am just finishing up laying down this pathing, I'm going to try and come over here and figure out what I want to do for this area. I'm going to just plant some flowers that'll kind of border this little river, and then I'm going to lay down some different filler codes right here and then try and figure out a more concrete pathing idea. But for now I'm going to just place down some items and bushes and then figure out, like I said, how I want the pathing and how I want this area to flow. So I'll try and explain that along the way as I am working on it. I don't love that pear tree I just planted right there for the record, but I'm going to just leave it for now, and then I'm going to just finish filling in the rest of that area right there with the extra flowers I had in my pockets. So right here I'm going to use this brick pathing to fill up this space. I think it matches nicely with the rest of the area. And then I will try and connect this area that will be leading up to Marshall's house to the area on the left a little bit. So I have a couple ideas of what I want to do. I'm just moving around some flowers right now. I'm planting in some bushes. I do want to go ahead and plant another stunted tree right here. I just like having, as you can tell, a lot of stunted trees on my islands. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on these last little like couple small areas right here. I'm going to just place down a little blanket code and then make a little picnic area right here. So I'll let you all watch me do that for a moment. Okay, so right here I'm going to make another little picnic or seating area. I'm just laying down this lace rug code, and then I'm going to just figure out what arrangement of items I want. I think I'm going to do this coffee cup because when I think of Marshall, I just think of coffee because of the interior of his house. And then I just laid down that Zen cushion. And so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is just try and fill in the rest of this area with flowers and then this log plank pathing code. I'm actually going to have that log plank code lead to the left side, but right now I want to just fill in the rest of this area with some more of this grass pathing, just to kind of fill in the space a bit more. This area was such a awkward size for me to work with and figure out how to lay down the pathing. I don't know why. I think it's because I didn't do maybe enough like waterscaping. I just wasn't sure how I could fit that in. Looking back now, I probably could have connected the two little waterscaping areas that I have on the left and right side, but right now I'm just trying to go in and do some more little finishing touches and swapping in and out different items. I changed out the item I had previously here with a Zen cushion in a book. And then if you see me kind of like walking around a lot, it's just me trying to get like a feel for how this area will flow. But as you can see, I added in the log planks right there. And then I'm going to just make a little bit of an extension of this grass pathing in this area just to kind of fill up this awkward amount of space. So I'm going to let you all watch me finish doing that for a little bit, and then I will stop back in right before the end of the video and the final walkthrough. So now that I have that grass pathing filled in, I'm just going in and adding some more flowers and bushes and trees just to kind of fill up the space a little more. And then I'm going to add in a couple more items just to give the area a bit more depth. But overall, I am pretty pleased with how this area has turned out. And again, like I had mentioned earlier in this build, I'm trying to be okay with not having every single little space filled up, at least when I'm doing a build, because that can tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. But for now, I'm just kind of doing some last little walkthroughs, testing out different items. And as you can see, I even tried right there to fill in that little space, but I couldn't make it work. The only last thing I want to change is this pear tree. I forgot to change that out, and so I'm going to put a stunted bamboo tree here, and then I will take you all on the final walkthrough for this area. Alright, so here we are. This will be the little pathway leading up to Marshall's and Sylvana's yard. I kept Marshall's yard pretty simple, and if you take this little bridge over, you can kind of see a view. There's a villager's house in the back, which is Scoot's house. And then if you come over here, you have Sylvana's little garden shed and garden. I really like how Sylvana's side came out. Marshall's was a bit more tricky, but I'm happy with both of them. I'm, like I said, just trying to be okay with the imperfections in each area. But as far as Marshall's yard, I just gave him like pretty much a bunch of trees and flowers, and then this little swinging bench back here. I forgot I planted a bush, so I can't get like around through the way that I just went. But overall, I am really pleased with how this build turned out. I hope this build was able to kind of just help inspire you on your island. If you have kind of a little bit amount of space left on your island and you still have villagers' houses that you need to place down, feel free to use this video as inspiration for decorating their yards, because that's kind of what I'm here for, to provide as much inspiration as possible. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down over here, and I just wanted to say that thank you all so much for voting in the community post that I did for this video. That is the reason that I decided to record building their yards, because it was something that you all were interested in. I'm really happy to be able to have the community post feature now, and we are getting so close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps support me and the channel. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!